And while he is in New York, you, I'm sure, have seen reports there was a New York City police officer who died in the line of duty. Any plan to acknowledge that officer?
Look, our hearts go out to this officer who tragically lost his life in the line of duty. We're also praying for his family during this difficult time, who now has an empty seat at their dinner table. President Biden is deeply grateful for the sacrifices police officers made.
What will be the impact on the supply chain on those specific industries?
Yeah, so this is one of the key ports again for vehicles, and some vehicles are actually finished at facilities that are on port grounds. So it is significant. That being said, of course, it's not the only facility that can accommodate roll-on, roll-off vehicles. You see that in Savannah, certainly in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia.
And you expect, because of those supply chain issues, that we could see impacts on the U.S. economy as a result of those supply chain issues?
We want to get a little more fidelity on how disruptive it can be. Again, we're not talking about a single point of failure that it's the only possible place to get through, or even something that is as impactful as some of the issues that affected the Panama Canal, for example. This does not automatically mean that a trip to the East Coast has to be substituted with a trip to the West Coast, which would be...
Any update on when the president would go to Baltimore?
I don't have an update for you. Obviously, we want to do it when it is the appropriate time on the ground. We're going to continue to have conversations with, obviously, local officials on the ground to get a sense of what their needs are, but we want to make sure that we do not disrupt their efforts. You just heard from the Secretary and the Vice Admiral, this is a major, major undertaking, and so we don't want to get in the way. But you heard from the President. He wants to get there as quickly as he can.
What was the first bit?
Impact on inflation?
Too soon to say. I think this is definitely a different ballpark from what we saw with the West Coast issues in 2021, but that's part of what we hope to gather more data on soon. I will say, a lot of the disinflation that we've seen has been a result of the work that the President led to improve and smooth out our supply chains. So we see a clear relationship between supply chains and inflation, but this is more localized and more specialized than what we saw in 2021.
How are you going to push back to Republicans who don't want anything to go through from this Biden administration budgetarily when the president says he wants to pay for everything?
I'll take the latter and leave it to you on the channel if you want. Look, infrastructure is, or at least ought to be, a bipartisan priority.
This has been a very long brief.
Is the president concerned about the college
Go ahead, I haven't called
financial
you. I
aid
haven't called
delays?
you. Go ahead.
Thanks, Karine. Has the president spoken with or plan to speak with those that were rescued from the bridge collapse, or to the families of those who were lost?
I know Secretary Buttigieg was just asked that question. I don't have anything to read out to you about a president conversation or a call, but we're thinking of them.